It was a freezing February night in 2004 when a black Saturn sedan skidded off a winding rural road in Haverhill, New Hampshire. The car struck a snowbank, airbags deployed, and the windshield cracked. A bus driver on his way home stopped and saw a young woman standing by the vehicle. She looked shaken, but she said she was fine. She even told him she had already called roadside assistance. But when police arrived minutes later, the car was empty. The engine was still warm, the doors locked, and her belongings, textbooks, clothes, bottles of alcohol, were still inside. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from the scene. No calls were made from her phone. The young woman, 21-year-old nursing student Maura Murray, had vanished into thin air. And for nearly 2 decades, investigators, journalists, and internet sleuths have tried to answer the same haunting question. What happened to Maura Murray that night? Maura was not just another college student. She was bright, athletic, and ambitious. A star runner in high school who first attended West Point before transferring to the University of Massachusetts Amherst to study nursing. But beneath her success, cracks were forming. She had recently been caught using a stolen credit card number to buy food, a misdemeanor that embarrassed her. She was in a long-distance relationship with her boyfriend Billy, an Army officer. Friends say they loved each other, but the distance caused strain and emails hinted at infidelity. And just days before she disappeared, she broke down in tears at her campus security job. Her supervisor asked what was wrong. She only said, "My sister." Yet her sister wasn't in trouble. What had Maura so upset in those days before she vanished? 2 days before her disappearance, Maura borrowed her father's car to go to a party. On the way back, she crashed it into a guardrail, causing serious damage. Her father wasn't angry, but this was the second car accident in less than a week. On the morning of February 9th, 2004, the day she disappeared, Maura emailed her professors saying she'd be out of class for a week because of a death in the family. But there had been no death. She packed up some of her dorm room belongings into boxes and left them neatly on her bed, along with an email from her boyfriend about their troubled relationship. She withdrew $280 from an ATM. The footage showed her calm, alone. Then she went to a liquor store and bought vodka, Bailey's, Kahlua, and wine. At around 4:30 p.m., she left Amherst, heading north toward the White Mountains. She didn't tell anyone why. By 7:27 p.m., Maura was driving through Haverhill, New Hampshire, when her car went off the road. A local bus driver, seeing the accident, stopped and offered help. He later described Maura as cold but coherent. He urged her to call the police, but she said she had already called for roadside assistance. That was a lie. Phone records show no such call. Minutes later, police arrived. The Saturn was still there, airbags out, but Maura was gone. Her backpack, alcohol, and other items were left behind. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from the car. No blood, no signs of struggle, just silence. The case of Maura Murray has become one of America's most enduring mysteries because every possible theory raises more questions than answers. Did she run away from her life? Did she meet with foul play? Or did something else happen in those cold New Hampshire woods? The investigation and the theories would turn this case into one of the first internet-driven mysteries of the 21st century. When police arrived at the scene on Route 112 that night, they were baffled. The car was locked, and inside they found a box of wine, some of it spilled, her packed belongings, including textbooks and toiletries, the ATM receipt from earlier that day, a faint scent of alcohol. There was no sign of injury, no blood, no footprints leading into the woods. Authorities launched a search, combing the surrounding area with dogs and helicopters. For a short distance, the dogs picked up Maura's scent, then it vanished, as if she had gotten into a vehicle. But if she had been picked up, who took her? Over the years, Maura's case has inspired countless theories. Each one sounds plausible until you dig deeper. 1. She ran away. Some believe Maura staged her own disappearance. After all, she lied to her professors about a death in the family, packed up her dorm, withdrew cash, and bought alcohol. Maybe she was running from the pressures in her life. School, her boyfriend, the credit card trouble. But if she wanted to start over, why crash her car? Why vanish without ever contacting her family in 20 years? 2. She was abducted. Another theory suggests Maura was taken by a stranger after leaving the car. The White Mountains are remote, with sparse houses along the road. Perhaps someone offered her a ride, and she never made it out alive. But there are no reports of suspicious vehicles that night, and locals insist the area was too quiet for a random predator. 3. She met someone she knew. Others speculate Maura had arranged to meet someone, a friend, a secret boyfriend, even her father. If that's true, maybe she willingly left her car. Yet police found no evidence of planned meetings, and her family insists she would never vanish voluntarily. 4. An accident in the woods. Some suggest Maura fled into the freezing woods to avoid police, possibly intoxicated or in shock after the crash, and died of exposure. The problem? Extensive searches turn up nothing. Not a shred of clothing, not bones, nothing. By 2004, internet forums were exploding with amateur sleuths dissecting every detail of Maura's disappearance. People analyzed the bus driver's account, noting he may have been the last to see her alive. Others obsessed over the items in her car. Why so much alcohol? Was she planning to drink away her problems? Some even theorized Maura was pregnant, though no evidence supported it. Her case became one of the first true crime mysteries of the internet age, inspiring podcasts, documentaries, and endless Reddit threads. Maura's father, Fred Murray, has never stopped searching. He has spent years traveling back to New Hampshire, putting up posters, pleading for new leads. He believed his daughter was abducted and possibly killed. Maura's siblings have also kept her name alive. But as time passes, their hope fades that she is still alive. The Maura Murray case is so gripping because it balances on a knife edge between two possibilities. If she ran away, why hasn't she resurfaced after nearly 2 decades? If she was abducted, how could it happen so quickly with no witnesses, no evidence, and no trace? It's as if she stepped into another dimension that night. Her case also strikes a deep fear in people. The idea that you could be here 1 minute, seen by multiple witnesses, and then be gone the next, without a single clue left behind. Nearly 20 years later, Maura Murray's disappearance remains unsolved. The FBI, state police, private investigators, and even independent journalists have combed through leads. But there is no body, no confession, no closure. For some, Maura has become less a person than a symbol of how quickly life can unravel, of how fragile security really is. And every year, on cold February nights, people drive down Route 112, past the spot where Saturn came to rest, and wonder, what happened to Maura Murray? The disappearance of Maura Murray is more than a mystery. It's a reminder that sometimes answers never come. Her family still waits, investigators still hope for a break, and strangers online still pore over every detail, desperate for resolution. But until that day comes, Maura's story lingers in the shadows of the White Mountains, haunting, unanswered, and unforgettable.